Let me set the scene for you. It's 10,000 years ago. You're thirsty, desperately thirsty. The only water available is this murky, stagnant pool that literally looks like it came out of a nightmare. But you have no choice. You drink it, and the next day, your stomach is destroying you from the inside out. Your body aches, you can barely stand, and you watch as people around you, your friends, your children, experience the same thing. Some of them don't recover. This wasn't rare. This was normal. This was life for billions of humans across thousands of years. In that water were bacteria you've never heard of. E. coli that could shut down your organs, Vibrio cholerae that caused cholera, a disease so brutal that armies throughout history were more afraid of cholera than actual warfare, Giardia, Cryptosporidium, Salmonella, typhoid fever, dysentery. These weren't just uncomfortable, these were civilization-ending threats. One contaminated water source could wipe out an entire settlement, and yet, humans figured it out. They survived. They thrived. Here's where the story gets actually interesting. Nobody understood germ theory. That wouldn't come until the 1800s. But somehow, ancient humans figured out that certain things made water safer, and the first discovery was so accidental, so completely by chance, that nobody even realized what they were doing. Around 9,000 years ago, humans discovered boiling, but they didn't boil water on purpose to purify it. Are you kidding? They had no idea that pathogens existed. What actually happened was that early humans were cooking. They needed hot water for their meals, so they boiled water in clay vessels right alongside their food, and over time, hundreds, thousands of years, someone made the connection. They noticed that the people who drank boiled water got sick less often. Think about how long that must have taken. How many people had to get sick and recover, had to get sick and die, before someone said, "Wait, I noticed something. That's not luck." That's the foundation of the scientific method, developed purely through observation and loss. Boiling works because it kills almost everything. When water reaches 100 degrees Celsius, the molecular structure of pathogens breaks down. Viruses can't survive it. Bacteria can't survive it. Most parasites die instantly. It's like a biological kill zone. But here's what's fascinating. Not every culture figured this out at the same time. In China, Japan, and the Middle East, boiling became standard practice. And that's why tea and coffee exploded in popularity in these regions. People thought it was about taste and tradition. But the real reason tea and coffee became essential, they required boiling. It was a public health revolution, hiding inside a beverage preference. Meanwhile, in medieval Europe, nobody was doing this. Water was dangerous. So what did they drink instead? Beer. And beer, accidentally, became one of the most important inventions for human survival. Here's why. Fermentation produces alcohol. Alcohol is a killer, not for humans, but for pathogens. When yeast ferments grain or fruit, it creates an environment where bacteria and parasites literally cannot survive. It's like nature's own antibiotic. A cup of beer in 1500s Europe was infinitely safer than a cup of water from the river. But it gets crazier. In ancient Egypt, workers building the pyramids weren't just given beer because they liked it. They were given beer because it was safer, more nutritious, and prevented disease. The state literally understood, without understanding germ theory, that beer kept workers alive and productive. Roman soldiers were issued wine as part of their daily ration, often diluted into water to make the water safe. Soldiers didn't know they were ingesting an antimicrobial, they just knew that the wine ration kept them healthier than soldiers who drank untreated water. Even the Bible recommends wine over water. Proverbs literally tells you to drink wine instead of water. For thousands of years, this advice saved lives. People thought it was spiritual wisdom. It was actually public health guidance passed down through religion. And here's the mind-blowing part. Fermented beverages could last for years. They could survive transport across entire continents. If civilizations hadn't discovered fermentation, human trade wouldn't exist. The spice routes, the age of exploration, global commerce, none of it happens without safe, transportable beverages. Your entire world exists because humans accidentally discovered alcohol kills pathogens. But most people didn't have access to fermented drinks every single day. The majority of humans still had to drink regular water, so they developed something else. They learned, our ancestors couldn't see pathogens, but they noticed patterns. They watched what happened. They learned that running water was safer than stagnant water. They understood that water from high mountains, from fast-moving streams, was better than water from swamps or slow rivers. They built deep wells because, without understanding soil filtration, they noticed that deeper wells produce water that made fewer people sick. There was something called the safe well effect. When you dig deep enough, water naturally filters through layers of soil and rock. Rocks trap particles. Minerals in the soil actually suppress bacterial growth. It's like nature built its own water treatment system, and ancient humans used it without understanding how it worked. Some civilizations built cisterns that slowed water flow and allowed particles to settle. They could see the dirt fall to the bottom, so they understood that the water at the top was cleaner. It wasn't perfect science, but it worked. It reduced risk. And then there's something that's almost creepy in how effective it is: cultural adaptation. Societies encoded water safety into their belief systems. Islamic ritual purification requires washing with water. Over time, this created populations that thought carefully about water cleanliness and handled it with respect. It reduced disease transmission without anyone realizing why. Hindu water purity practices, while rooted in spirituality, coincidentally promoted better water handling and contamination prevention. Native American tribes documented which water sources were safe and passed that knowledge orally for generations. If your tribe knew, never drink from that river, always use that spring, you were going to live longer. That knowledge was literally the difference between life and death. And here's something modern science has proven. Humans developed stronger immune systems over time. This isn't evolution in the rapid sense. It's natural selection happening at lightning speed. Children with weak immune systems died from waterborne illness. Children who survived developed resistance. Over generations, populations became more resilient to the specific pathogens in their region. Some societies even developed lactose tolerance so they could drink milk, a safer alternative to water. They created fermented dairy products like yogurt and kefir, which are both delicious and contain billions of beneficial bacteria that kill harmful pathogens. Ancient humans accidentally invented probiotics, and then, finally, in the 1800s, science caught up. A guy named John Snow investigated a cholera outbreak in London and proved that contaminated water was the cause. Before this, people believed disease was caused by bad air, but Snow traced the outbreak to one contaminated water pump. This single discovery changed everything. Within decades, water treatment systems started being built: filtration, chlorination, controlled distribution. In just 150 years, we solved a problem that plagued humanity for 10,000 years. But here's what's humbling. For 10,000 years, before any of that technology existed, humans survived through observation, adaptation, and an almost supernatural ability to learn from tragedy and loss. Every time someone got sick and recovered, that knowledge was absorbed. Every time someone died, that loss became wisdom. Every generation passed down what they had learned to the next generation. And look, I know this is a history channel, so you might think this is all just interesting facts, but there's something deeper here. The next time you fill a glass of water from your tap, pure, clean, safe water, that moment of safety is the result of millions of small discoveries made by people who had none of the technology we have today. Your ancestors didn't have lab tests or microscopes. They had observation and resilience. And because of them, you're alive. That's not just history. That's a reminder of what humans are capable of when we're forced to solve impossible problems. If videos like this about history, survival, and the hidden genius of ancient humans blow your mind, hit that subscribe button. We have dozens of videos exploring the secrets of civilizations, the weird ways humans adapted to impossible challenges, and the stories that textbooks never tell you. And if you want to see more about how ancient humans engineered the impossible without modern technology, watch the video we've linked right here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.